Figured out what the problem was in the last stream. There wasn't one. Nobody typed anything. Not that I noticed. We're getting ready to spray a little red. Spray a little red. Got the airbrush is all cleaned out. Somehow, these things are tangled up 7 ways from Sunday. I don't know how, because none of them are bent. Alright. Now, there's one in here so far. We just got started back up. Okay, time to load the airbrushes. Load these up. What I started making was these. That's what I got started over here. I got the white and yellow on there. Now we're going to do, put the red on there, and then I'm going to paint up a bunch of 15 more of them red for the next ones. They're going to be red with a gray head on them. If you weren't here before, I had a lot of these to do. So I'm going to be painting on these for a couple hours probably, something like that. So 4, 15 of them. Alright, yeah. Got that fixed. We will be spraying red. And we're going to clean up. We're going to spray a lot of red actually. And I'm going to do the gray eyes, or silver. So, that on. We got a red. If you were in the last one there, figured out what the problem was. Hey Curry's Outdoors, welcome. What we're doing, figured out what the problem was. If somebody typed something, I couldn't see it. I can see it now. So I had to shut it down to fix it. I don't know exactly what it was. I did change a couple of settings. I think you have to go in and turn that on. I don't know. I don't do a lot of lives, so, and every time I've done them in the past, it's always been able to see chat when people type something. But for some reason it wasn't doing it this last time. So, but if you were here the last time, I painted the yellow and the red, or the yellow, the white base, and then the yellow. And what I'm painting is this color here. I had them inside, so I grabbed them on the way back out. And that's a finished product there after it's been epoxied with the shine coat. And you can see the bigger eye I'm talking about on these. This one's got a red eye. I got a couple other ones here. There's a couple other different color, but get the idea. I got different color eyes I can put on them. This is the black speckle. This is the pink and gold. And it's got blue eyes on it. And it's just the style. I've got them that are two-toned and scale pattern. I can do all kinds of stuff with them. But I just don't really do the realistic paint jobs where it actually looks like a bluegill or a crappie or whatever on these. You mainly get using these for catfishing when you're using them. You're mainly using them for the rattle and the floating ability. You don't really want your catfish to bite this because it's going to be up in front of the hook. I usually, when I'm using them, about 6 inches or so. Here's an orange one I did. And I got it all set up here to show people. Whenever you have a retail, if you're a retailer and you're carrying these in your retail shop and you're buying them from me, it'll come with an example so you can hang it up next to it. But you can see there how you got the hook and it's up from the hook a ways. And it's just an orange one. And then your swivel and whatnot, like you put it on actual leader. So, but I got the comments fixed. Let's see here. Fish, hi. Ruben, how's it going, man? Pretty good. Just hiding out of the rain. Ruben, fishing is complicated as you make it. I'm a big advocate of the KISS method of doing everything. If you don't know what that is, KISS, K-I-S-S, keep it simple, stupid. Don't fall for somebody. You see somebody either in a YouTube video or a fishing show or whatever, and they have all this high dollar gear and, you know, they're always pushing stuff. You can catch fish with a stick, a string, and a simple hook, and use grasshoppers. It's just what you want to catch. You increase everything else is creature comforts. You know, it's the gear is creature comforts, the fancy gear and whatnot. I have some very high dollar gear. My crappie fishing gear is probably more expensive than my catfish gear. I fish primarily catfish and crappie. I guide for it here on Mark Twain for both of them. And my crappie rods that I use and clients use, they're $175 a piece. They're expensive. They're H&H rods. They are the best rod I've ever used. I will say that. I bought them. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I'm not on their pro staff. I paid for them. And I used them and I had a little extra money, so I bought one. And then I've had one for 2 years. I just bought another one here not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. They're expensive. They really are. I've got rods from B&M. I've got rods from Ozark. I've got Tony Edgar rods. I have some Bass Pro MI6 rods. I have some Lew's rods, all for crappie fishing. I've got combos over there that I bought at Walmart. The Lew's combos were $39 for a rod and reel, both, you know, to catch crappie. And get that, some corks, some small hooks, and go get some minnows, and you can catch crappie just fine. Or you can use jigs, and then it gets more detailed. As far as that goes. For catfish, right now I'm using Mad Cat rods. I like them mainly because of the colors, and I use black light at night, and they glow. They look like lightsabers out the back of the boat. And I don't have to have all that white light on, attracting all them bugs and all that. So, you know, I've used Silver Cat Elites from B&M. They're a cheaper rod. They're about $60, I think, for one of them. But you can catch them on, you know, any combo from Walmart. It's what you want to catch, what you're targeting. I'm set up, I can catch big fish on them the rods I use, and I can catch small fish. If you're at a place and you're catching eater-sized channel cats, a $39 combo from Walmart, some ugly stick combo with a 404 or an 808 or a 606, that'll work fine for channel cats. Little, 5-pound fish and under. 3 to 5 pounders that most people catch on channel cats. Get you a tub of stink bait. I like the Suki bait. Or get some of the bait that's fiber. It's got fiber in it. You just use a treble hook, dip it in there with a simple sinker, and you can go out and catch channel cat. When you start getting into the more expensive stuff like this and whatnot, you're using that to do certain things after certain species, But even then, you can make it difficult and expensive, or you can do it cheaper. I started doing this for myself, and then I had people asking me, well, how much would you charge me to make me some, and at boat ramps. And that's how I got started in this. And I got enough people asking me that I eventually just made up some, took them to my local bait shop, and asked if he'd be interested in putting them in his bait shop. And that's how it got started. Now I'm in 9 retail locations, and the stuff I make, even with the retailer marking it up, I'm able to make it and sell it to him at a wholesale price, and it's still cheaper than your big brands by a significant amount. I mean, these things, you go buy these, they're anywhere from $17 to $21 for 3 of them. And I've got retailers selling them for as cheap as $15 for 3. $5 a piece. It's not cheap, but it's a whole lot better than $7 a piece. And it gives me something to do. But all I'm doing on these now is just putting this on there, and this is mainly so the eyes pop. And you don't want to overthink it when you're painting these. You can overthink them. You can get crazy with it. Well, I did 50 of them for a guy. He wanted crappie, bluegill, and bullhead pattern on them. He wanted as realistic as I could do them. And I can paint 20 of these an hour start to finish pretty easily. Just doing a simple paint pattern, not that fancy. There's some tricks you can do that look like you were fancy, but really ain't. But and then then you got to epoxy them. That's what makes them look real shiny. Because right now they're kind of dull, and if it touches anything, as far as rocks and whatnot, it's going to chip the paint off of them without having a top coat on them. And so you got to put a clear coat epoxy on them. And that just protects your paint. And I use a really good epoxy on mine. I've actually handed to people, to retailers, and told them I encourage you to go out and throw it on the concrete or in the gravel. Throw it on the ground. Beat on it. See what happens. And their comment is it didn't even scratch it, and it doesn't yellow over time. Some epoxies do. Some guys do this and they use like the JB Weld 5-minute epoxy to top coat them. And in a month, the epoxy turns so yellow and it doesn't get rock hard. So that's the big thing. What I use, it gets rock hard. You can slam them on the ground. It don't hurt them. Bounce them on rocks. And they're real durable. Whoops. I've got some of them I've had for a couple of years, and they look as good as the day that I made them, No, it's pouring down raining today. We finally getting that water we needed. So I'm not fishing today. I'm going to be out tomorrow for sure. I'd say we're going to have some running water. And you get running water, them catfish are going to be biting for sure. I hope it don't screw the crappie up. But, because they're just starting to really turn on good. Did real good yesterday. We went out. I fished for about 2.5 hours, had my limit. They were all 10 to 11 inch fish. Not monsters, but just really nice size eaters. And I threw back quite a few of them 9.5 inchers. Just starting to catch them up shallow. Seemed like the better fish I caught on Mark Twain yesterday, last couple times out, have been deeper in that 6 to 15 foot range. And kind of solo. They're really on the move. They're starting to really move around, trying to figure out where they want to go for spawn. Stage up for that. But so it's kind of just setting up, hitting spot lock and looking around with my live scope until I see some swim by and kind of ambush them more or less. Kind of how I've been catching them. I've been catching them on hair jigs the last couple of days. Yeah. Let's see, Curry Outdoor. Is that you, Philip? Is that right, Philip? First name? You bought the rods from me and stuff there last year? I think that's who Curry Outdoors is. Well, I put just enough paint in to do these. Yep, I thought that's who it was. Yeah, I've been busy with this stuff. I haven't done any catfishing yet, but I tell you, if this rain we're getting, I know North Fork in the last, I just looked before I came out here to the shop, and last 6 hours they've had about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, almost 2 inches of rain. So North Fork and Middle Fork is going to be running. And I'm definitely going to jump on that tomorrow in that moving water and catch some catfish. I got a friend of mine that just moved in this area. He went out yesterday, I think it was. I think he said. And didn't have no luck, but he's new to the lake. And he's moved from down by the Ozarks. He's from this area. And he might even be one of them in here. I don't know, Lyle. From Catfish Weekly and Panfish Weekly. Lyle Stokes. And if you see this before tomorrow, Lyle, if there's running water, you want your eater catfish, that's going to be when you're going to get them. Pretty quick. And I'll be out there. Hit me up if you want to go tomorrow. Just come with me. You Cindy both if you want. And we'll hammer them. We'll put the hammer down on a bunch of eaters. But I haven't really started catfishing yet. I normally wait till the water's consistently in the 50s. Our fish on Mark Twain go dormant in the winter. It ain't like down the Ozarks. You go down there, catch them year round. Blue cats. Up here, our water gets cold enough, they just shut off. So we don't, not too many people fish for them in the winter. They're starting to catch a few on lines. But when I was out yesterday, I found 53, 52, 53 degree water back up in the creeks. I went back and looked, and when you start seeing that, water consistently in the 50s, that's when I usually start, which is usually about the last week of March to the first week of April. I'll start going out and finding them, and then usually it's about the second week of April or so, I start doing the guide trips during the daytime for catfish. And I'll guide catfish through May until the spawn starts. Usually it's about the first week of June, probably the second week of June. I usually end up shutting it down, and that's when I start guiding for crankbait and crappie, dragging crankbaits and to catch crappie in the summer until the spawn's over, and then I go back to doing the catfish and the crappie if I have time. I've got a lot of crappie. I mainly end up with some overflow from Kenny Wilkinson. He guides on weekends and then in the evenings. And then Jason Kaiser and Keith Williams, they guide. They're all friends of mine. Kenny, I've known Jason since we were in grade school. Kenny, I consider him to be a real good friend. And I don't want to take no food off her table. I just do it for extra money. And I get asked a lot if I guide with the YouTube channel. So some people just want to go with me, and that's fine. I don't have a problem taking people. And I have confidence enough to say, I take you because I know I'm on fish. There's been a couple times when we didn't catch a whole lot, on catfish, but we caught fish. I've only had one trip where I considered it a bad trip as far as the fishing. We only caught a couple, and they were small blues. We couldn't keep them. But for the most part, when I take people, I know I'm on fish. If I'm not on fish, I say I'm not on. But there was one last year. It was a bachelor party, 3 guys, and they got a hold of me, and they asked about the weekend if I had anybody booked. I said, guys, I'm not on fish. I said, they're not really biting right now, because of spawn. And honestly, I haven't been for about a week. I said, so, I don't want to take money when I know the chance of us catching fish is just not there, and I know I haven't been fishing on them. And they said, okay, well, we appreciate you, saying that. And whatnot. Well, then that Saturday, the weekend that they wanted to go, I stopped. I was going to go crappie fishing. And I stopped at the Can-Am General Store to get some minnows. And these 3 guys seen me and hollered at me, and they started talking to me, and it was them. And come to find out that it was one of his bachelor party. And he wanted to go fishing for his bachelor party, which I thought was kind of cool. And they were talking to me, and they wanted catfish. And I'm like, well, I can take crappie fishing, but I'm not doing a catfish because, they're not really biting with spawn. And the chances of catching, enough of them to make it worthwhile aren't real good. And they were like, we don't care. We just want to go out on the lake, tonight. So I went ahead and took them. And to increase the chance of them getting some fish to take home, we threw out some noodles, and like jugs. And I'm telling you, that was one of the best times I've ever had on the water with clients. I always try to have a good time, but want to catch some fish too. But them boys, they had a ball. I laughed at them so much, and they were lifelong friends, was my understanding. One of them was a special investigator with the police department in Hannibal. He lived in Hannibal, I guess. He was getting ready to get married. He was the one getting married. And then his buddies, one of them was from Farmington, and one of them was from somewhere else that wasn't around here. But, and Kirksville. One's from Kirksville, one's from Farmington. And we had a ball out there with them guys. And we ended up catching some flathead that night. We could keep a couple of nice flatheads, about 20 pounds, and a couple nice channel cats. And they ended up taking home a couple gallons of fillets. And the time we got done dressing them and everything, we were having such a good time. Heck, I think we stayed out there until 5, 6 o'clock. You know, it was daylight almost by the time we got done dressing fish. And they were going to go back after being up all day. They went out all day because I didn't meet them at the boat ramp until 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock really. Well, they went fishing all day out there in that sun and didn't catch a single fish all day. And I couldn't have done that. And then we got in the boat and they were a blast. And we caught some fish. Well, we got done dressing them fish and it was probably 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun was starting to peak in the morning, peek out. They were going to go back to camp and cook fish. And they were trying to get me to go back to camp and cook fish. And I'm like, well, this dude's getting married in the afternoon, you know. So, I hope all's well. I haven't heard anything out of them since then, but I hope the wedding went off all right. She didn't kill all 3 of them because they showed up so tired they couldn't move or drunk. Because they didn't drink in the boat. But they were hammering down on the beers pretty hard when we was up there dressing fish. That's one thing I don't, insurance purposes, I don't allow no drinking in the boat or any marijuana. Me personally, I don't care if somebody wants to have a beer or two, you know, while we're fishing. That instance, they'd have been drunk. Getting the red ones painted. All I'm doing there, red's dark enough, it don't see through. You can get it dark enough. But them light colors like that yellow, you got to paint them white first. We got 6, 5, it goes back and forth. The last one was about an hour, a little over. Average 7 people the whole time, which I think is pretty good considering it's a Thursday and it's a work day for a lot of people. So it ain't like a Saturday or a Sunday and it's raining and people can't go fishing. You know, a lot of guys are working. If you're at one of them jobs where you're either working from home and you can be on the computer, you know, you're troubleshooting or whatnot. Computer person, you know, helping do that, taking calls, something like that. There's a lot of that goes on now, even in our area. After COVID, a lot of these companies found out that they can have their people working from home, not have to have a facility with all that stuff in it, you know, like call centers and stuff. I got a friend that worked at a call center. With COVID, they started working from home, and now that their COVID and everything's over, he still does it, but he does it from home. He don't even have to go in. He works in his pajama pants every day, and does it all from his house. They call the number, and it goes to the call center, but it forwards it to their. I don't know exactly how it works. But somehow it kicks it to his home phone number, or to his computer rather, and he talks to his computer. But and he works from home now, don't have to drive in to work into Hannibal, which don't sound like much, but it saves him about $200 a month in gas because you don't have to drive to work every morning. So it's kind of like getting a raise. He likes it. I guess he's good at it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could sit in front of a computer, talk to strangers all day long. But I can sit here and talk in front of this camera to nobody and just rattle for hours. So who knows? I ought to be running out of paint. I'm gonna put about a quarter of the way full. This red looks dull. When I put that epoxy finish on there, it will pop. It'll be real bright. I only got about 1,000 of these to paint. I usually do up all 100 or so at a time when I sell them or use them. Sell more than I use, but when I sell them and I paint up another 100, or somebody has some. I usually always have some blanks that I don't paint. So if you have certain color combination you want, I can paint it for you. It's not one I already got. And of course the dragon sinkers and all that stuff I got too. I worked on them pretty much all February. Got all that stuff stocked up. That way I don't have to do it. I can go fishing. I don't have to spend my summer making them dragon sinkers because they take a little more time than this. I come out here and spend an hour here, an hour there, painting on these. And then go fishing, you know. Get up in the morning and have my coffee and whatnot, and come out here and paint up 40 or 50 of them, and then while they're drying, I load the boat, go to the lake, go clean carpet, whatever I got to do that day. Let them dry, and then when I get home, they're dried off enough I do the epoxy in the house so it's climate controlled in there. I got a room in my house that I have set up just for doing stuff like this, and packaging, boxing, print labels, stuff like that if I ship stuff. I don't know, I kind of enjoy doing this. Kind of relaxing, come out here. So I don't hear it now, so it must not be raining very hard. So you can hear the rain on the tin roof of the shop. Just kind of relaxes me. And you're not just sitting inside not doing nothing all day. The next thing I'm doing after I get done doing this is I'm going to start cutting templates. I'm going to build another console on the passenger side of my boat. That way it's dual console. I have aluminum. So I'm going to cut cardboard, use the one on the driver's side as a template, and cut the pieces out I got to weld together. I have aluminum. I'm going to make it out of aluminum. I've done quite a few little projects. I did some live scope installs this year, this winter. Building live scope mounts on the front of boats to hold the transducer pole and everything for guys. And then went out with them. Did the training classes with them, showed them, got them set up for them. Got their settings set, kind of showed them what the little ins and outs, little nuance things that you learn over time on the water. It's a huge advantage if you have somebody to teach you So you don't have to just figure it out yourself, you know. But you eventually will figure it out. But it takes a little bit on that if you've never used it to learn it. There's little tricks that you can do with it. And just knowing what you're looking at is huge. I know when I first got mine, I bet I tried catching shad for 2 months. Because you just don't know the difference of what a shad looks like in a crappie or whatnot on the screen. If you have somebody go out with you, kind of show you what that is, you know, that ain't a crappie, you know, that's this, or you know what to put your settings on so it works really well, so you can see what you're looking for better. It's a huge advantage over just going out and figuring it out over time. Just speeds up the learning curve. Some people like live scope, some people don't. I have mixed feelings about it, to be honest. I have it. I use it. I see the biggest factor in the live scope is it eliminates dead water. It does not, a lot of people think, oh, you got live scope, that's the only reason you're catching fish. No, you still have to know how to fish, I hate to tell you. It does not make them bite. And it can actually make you a worse fisherman than without it if you're totally relying on it. It's not the end-all thing. Will it make it easier to catch fish? Yes. And how it does that is, you know there's fish there because you can see them, is the number one thing about it. But if you don't know how to catch them without it, chances are you're not going to catch them with it as well as what you think you would. But if you can go out there without it, on average, and catch fish, it might take you all day to get a limit of crappie, you know. And you're spider rigging, you know, where you got the 6 or 8 rods off the front of the boat, and you just kind of go along until one bites it. Or you're taking it on a cork, and you're flipping, dipping every tree. And it takes you a few hours to catch your limit, you know, 5-6 hours all day, whatever, to catch your limit of decent fish. You get live scope and you're going to feel like a pro because you already know how to catch them. Now you know, instead of dipping every tree, you look and, oh, there is no fish on that tree, and you just go to the next one. That's the big thing about it, is you're not fishing water that just don't have fish in it. But because you can't catch the fish, I don't care how good a fisherman you are, you can't catch a fish if there's not a fish there. And that's what live scope does, is you know that fish, there's a fish there, but you still have to know how the fish reacts to certain things, what to do. You know, do they want it moving? Do they want it just dead stick? You know, do they want what color they want? You know, all that stuff. You still have to figure all that out. The biggest advantage, like I said, is you know there's a fish there to be caught. But it does teach you a lot. You'll learn a lot with it about fish behavior in general. You know, what affects them. What amazed me more than anything was before I got it, I'd be fishing, you know, you bump into the tree you're fishing. And you'd be like, well, they're gone, you know, and you just leave. A lot of times you bump a tree, the fish will swim out about 3 or 4 foot and he'll come right back to it. I've actually seen them on a tree and dropped a jig down to them or minnow and they don't even move. And I'll reach up with my hand and I'll smack the tree or let the boat bump into it and kind of spook them. And they'll do that, swim away 3 or 4 foot and swim right back to it. And then they'll bite. They're just down there. Fish don't sleep. They go into a catatonic state. And everybody says, oh, he's asleep. Well, he's not really asleep, but their brain shuts down basically and they go inactive. That's how they sleep. And that's basically what it is they're down there just sitting where they're comfortable and they're in that catatonic state. And when they're like that, you can drop anything you want in front of them and they aren't even going to look at it. So you wake them up, make them move, takes them out of that catatonic state. But if you set your rod down and it hits the side, especially a metal boat, you get that tink tink or whatever, you know, man, they'll just leave. That spooks them like nobody's business. Another thing that amazed me was running over them with your big motor running, idling back over them, or even your trolling motor. They pay no attention whatsoever at all to them boat motors. They're so used to hearing them, I think, that it does not spook them, scare them, anything. I have literally caught dragging for catfish, especially. I have been dragging and run over top of them in 1.5 feet of water with my trolling motor. And the boat go over top of them. I'm dragging baits behind the boat. And when the baits get to them, they're still there and they bite. It does not bother them. What scares them is that turn motor on that trolling motor. Like my Trinova, I use the remote. But it's how you turn it, it's motorized. And that turn motor, when you turn your motor, that will spook them fish. That turning motor back and forth will scare them fish so fast. They don't like that at all. But they'll pay no attention at all to a prop noise. Ooh, time to clean that. See what happens there. See that or not. Paint plugs that little spray nozzle. You gotta clean that up. Or just take it off. But it also gets all over your needle seat right here. I notice it you'll start seeing paint splatters. Instead of spraying an even mist, you get splatters on your blanks. Like I don't know all of them. I know Dovets, they come with these little brushes, and you clean that out real easy. You just put it on that little brush, push that brush through there. Scrub it back and forth, clean it out. Takes a couple minutes. Let it in there long enough it's dried. That happens. Take a little hooks, just pull it out. Clean it out real good. Give it a good clean. Get it all cleaned out there. See that or not? Get it all cleaned out. Put it back on there. What that does is keeps your paint going in the right direction, so you don't have a bunch of overspray stuff that aren't going on what you're painting. Oh, that works so much better now. Get a little paint done. I was really surprised with the tariff thing. These all these blanks come from China. They have not went up in price. I thought for sure with the tariffs that was put on the Chinese, but it may not be an item that's on the tariff list, you know. But I mean, it's a manufacturing item. You'd think that's one of the things they were, you know, Trump nailing them on, trying to bring that manufacturing back home by raising them tariffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. One more, 15. How close I got with my paint. Now that I'm back to posting videos again, because one, the weather, and the lake's thawed out, but two, my medical stuff's kind of clearing up now, and I'm pretty healthy again, as healthy as I was anyway. Still got to lose some weight. I'm battling that. My kidneys aren't working real well. Yeah, I got a little kidney failure stuff going on I'm dealing with, but it's not bad enough I got to have dialysis. I'm retaining water. Is what it amounts to. And I quit smoking back in June, and I was already gaining a bunch of weight. That's why I went to the doctor. I couldn't get rid of weight. I kept gaining weight. I gained it quick. And I gained about 50 pounds. And I quit smoking. And I started gaining more. So I went to the doctor to find out, what I'm doing wrong. And they put me on a diet and everything. And I was still gaining weight. I was only intaking about 1,200 calories a day. So then they ran some tests. I wasn't feeling well. Found some stuff wrong. So they had to do some biopsies. They found some masses and stuff. Had to do biopsies this winter. That's mainly why I didn't post any videos. About the beginning of November to the middle of December, I posted. And I was recovering from the biopsies. I couldn't do much. But that's all done now. No cancer or anything like that. The biopsies they cut out were malignant. Or were non-malignant. Benign, I guess, would be what you call it. So, that was good news. Now they got me back on another diet. Get rid of this weight, I'll be in good shape. Get back down where I was beginning of last summer before I started putting on all this weight. Ain't really slowing me down too much anymore. A little out of shape. I could still climb Heart Attack Hill out there at Ray Barron's. Not familiar with the area in the boat ramp, you don't know what I'm talking about. Mark Twain, you can't, all the boat ramp parking lots are quite a ways away from the ramps themselves because our water fluctuates so much. It goes up, at times it can go up. Right now it's like 6:03 this morning. Now if it's rain, I'd say it's going to go up pretty good. But our normal pool's 6:06. But the lake from year to year, it gets as high as 620, high 620s. They don't like it when it gets that high, but if we get a lot of rain up north and Mississippi's flooded, they hold the water in the lake and don't let it go out. It flows into Mississippi when they let it out via the Salt River. But the parking lots got to have the elevation, and so you'll walk 100 yards back to the parking lot, just get to the parking lot, and then you got to go up 40-50 foot elevation over that walk. And Ray Barron's has a set of stairs. The locals, we call it Heart Attack Hill, because by the time you get to the top of it, I'm telling you, you're huffing and puffing unless you're in pretty good shape. And I can still climb that. I still have to make a stop by halfway up, catch my breath, and let everything calm down. The legs kind of get to screaming, but I could do it in one shot. I'd probably be half crippled by the time I got to the top of them. A little out of shape to be doing that. I used to be able to run up them damn things a couple of years ago, not stop. Run all the way to the truck. There's several times I'd be out fishing and a storm would come up. I'd take off up that hill at a pretty brisk jog, basically run all the way to the truck, not stop. I don't think I could do that now. I feel like I was having a heart attack trying to do it now. Well, that's red. All the red's red. We're gonna spray some silver. Cups clean. A little nozzle clean. It's typed anything in a while. Six still in here. Get me some drink. What you got going on? Anything new in the chats? I haven't seen it move in a while. No, nothing moved. Something wet the whistle. All right. Next, I'm gonna move these down. That one's broke. They just little things and the kebabs you can buy like for barbecue. For the hangies on. Throw a little hole in there and stick them in there. Works great for a little hanging rack. 1x4. I think I bought 12-foot 1x4 and I made like 3 of these racks. Works pretty good for hanging these. It lets me hang up about 50 of them at a time. Around, make it a little easier to get to. This paint sets enough to where you can touch it without smudging it, smearing it, and all that. About 20 minutes. Paint another color on top of it, don't blend together. The rain's picked up again. Alright, we're ready to do some black now, or silver. Do some silver. Losing my audience, down to 4. I was up 15 for a while. Guess I'm not being exciting enough. Tell jokes or something, I don't know. Fill up our silver paint here. It's supposed to mimic chrome. I don't think it quite looks like chrome to me when you spray it. It does if you spray it over white, but as soon as you put your epoxy on top, it just turns to gray again. But it does the effect I want it to do. That's the most important part. I get it. Put a little there. I'm going to do a stripe across the bottom. Just like that. Yeah. Breaks that red up. Something a little different. I can take, after you do that, put that on there. I got a fluorescent yellow spray over top of that, and it looks pretty neat. Or fluorescent green, orange, whatever. Three in here, nobody's asking anything. People just popping in and out. 5, been about an hour, this one. 4 likes. Four likes. A little shine to it. Hey, take all the views I can get. Trying to get the watch hours up on my videos, which have been doing real well. The last 4 videos done real well. I thank you for that. I'm a little short on watch hours, and I was told you need to do live streams. Well, I can't live stream when I'm fishing because my signals aren't good enough out on the water. And they're like, a friend of mine was like, we work in that shop all the time. Fire it up, let it run. People want to watch, they can. I said, you stuff in there all the time. Some people might want to know, maybe they pick up on how to do that stuff. So I thought today, with it rainy, nasty out, I'd come out here, work on these. And just fired up. If somebody wanted to join, they could. Have it play in the background for background noise or whatever. Or if they do watch the channel and had some questions or whatnot, I know there's one that asked about my setup on my boat for my transducer for my live scope. I don't remember who it was now, I'd have to look. We could take a minute, take the camera and show that stuff. I made that. Because to me, companies that make them graph mounts and transducer poles and all that, it's like highway robbery, what they charge. $500 for something to hold your graph, you can make for $10 or $15 if you got a welder, a little bit of DIY knowledge. Make that stuff what they're selling for $500-600. It might not be as pretty, but it does what they do. The one I got, I can guarantee you, it's heavier than any one you can buy. I think that's why this winter I had several people get a hold of me asking if I could make one for them. Make one on their boat. They bring their boat over and leave it. And I'd get it fabricated, whatnot, to fit their boat, and then call them when it was done, come pick it up. But I kind of show them mine so they knew what they were getting. I know I didn't charge them no $500 or $600 for it. And I even put it on the boat for them. Any kind of installs as far as drafts and whatnot, I recommend they get a hold of Brandon Spalding for that. I can do it. I don't enjoy crawling around and running wires and stuff in boats. It's not something I enjoy doing. I don't mind doing the mountain stuff, you know, on draft mounts or transducer poles, transducer pole mounts, stuff like that. I don't mind putting that on. I don't want to mess with the wiring aspect. Trying to make it look all nice and clean. I like to do the fabrication stuff. Weld stuff together and build it. I mentioned it before, I'm going to build a console to match my driver's console on the passenger side on my boat out of aluminum. This is what I got a Sea Arc, it's an aluminum Sea Arc. And I'm going to basically build exactly what's on the driver's side for the passenger side, minus the live well. I'm not going to build a live well in it. I got the one live well, that's enough. But I want the consoles because I'm going to put a windshield on it after I get done. I'm going to put a windshield in my boat that way. Go out, especially when the weather's real cool. It's nice to have that windshield to block out that wind. So I'm going to put windshields on the consoles. And there's no room for another live well on that side of the boat where I got my boat set up anyway. We got 5 more. 5 more. And that'll be 30 of them. Yeah, that's what I'm doing is put little highlights on there so the eyes will really pop. Let them pop. Do. 6 people there. Today, I think this rain's gonna be. We needed this. We needed rain bad. Fill up some ponds. A little water in the lake. Get the cats biting. It's kind of a cold rain though. Not a real warm rain. Lake's low though. Lake's 3 foot low. I've been fishing a lot in Dry Fork here the last 2 weeks. Crappie. You gotta watch out going back in there. Take out a lower unit pretty easy back in there right now. Got a tournament coming up, catfish tournament. 19th, I think it is. That's the Sarah Foster Hibner Memorial Tournament that the Chapman puts on Ethan every year. I think it's coming up the 19th, April. I know Saturday, day after tomorrow, I gotta work, but the core is gonna be at the maintenance building, which is on the north side of the dam, on Route J. On the northeast side of the dam. They're looking for volunteers to help construct the crappie condos to put out on the lake. If you haven't ever done that or don't know what it is, it's been really good for the lake. They're structures for crappie and other fish to use to help hide when they're small, and they're fish attractors they put out. And they put them out South Fork, Spalding area. I think the last ones they put out was around 107 around U. They put them in Shell Branch area. They put them, but I know they're going to have people putting them together to drop coming up, to take out and drop off the lake. It's all the gray, the silver, I mean, but they're going to be doing that Saturday. I've never been able to do it. I've always had to end up working. The last couple of times they dropped them, I've always had to work when they drop them too. But they put them together, then they transport them the day before, and then if you got trailer or something, you can pull them, help them transport. They're always looking for volunteers there too. You can get a hold of Aaron Effenkamp at the Corps Engineers Maintenance Building there, Mark Twain. And for any information as far as that goes, I think if you go to Mark Twain Lake Anglers Facebook page, they have it shared on there. The phone numbers and whatnot, I don't have them. I look them up on my phone, but that's what I'm using to do the live stream. With the numbers as far as if you want to volunteer for that. And then, I don't remember the date, but it is a Saturday. They're going to drop them, and I don't have that going on then. I want to say it's like it's the first Saturday in April, I think, when they're dropping them. They're putting them out. And they're putting them out over by South Fork, over there in that campground boat area. But I think they're launching out of South Fork because the campground access, that boat ramp for that campground isn't big enough to put them on the boat ramp and load them up and stuff. So they're going to use South Fork boat ramp, I think, to do the loading onto the boats and take them out. I know I've made it a point to not schedule any work for that day. Because, you know, I fished them quite a bit. I did last summer. And they do, I mean, them guys, Aaron and them do a hell of a job on that, getting them grants and getting the money to buy that stuff to build them so we can put them out. And just a way, you know, you can give back a little bit if you fish them, you know, go out. You ain't got to spend all day. If you want to drop 2 or 3 and you got somewhere else to go, you know, go do it. But usually that catfish tournament's the day they drop them in the spring. And the last 2 years, I've had catfish tournament both times. Whenever they were dropping them, I've been fishing tournaments. So I haven't ever put them out yet. But this year, I made it a point not schedule any work when they're dropping them out, so I can go help drop them out. And I don't have no tournament scheduled this year when they're doing it, so I'm going to go do it. Don't have to have a boat to help drop them. There's usually people there with boats, but they could use an extra set of hands putting them out because they can be kind of awkward. They're 5 foot by 5 foot PVC squares. I think they use 1.5 inch PVC, and then they have, I think it's 4 or 5 inch corrugated pipe on them, so they can be kind of awkward. I think they fill the bottom PVC rings with rocks, so they go down and stay on the bottom. There's a bigger tank I was talking about earlier if you were here. It's got 2 different sizes. I got one twice as big too. You just don't, you gotta clean the brush up before you use it all. So I don't use it because it's got a hole in the top of the lid, so it allows air to go in so it can draw the paint out of it. And you can't just set it upside down to let the paint come out of it. Need some more rods. I think I got one left. I sold some. I'm not positive. There might be one over there. I sold a bunch of that stuff here a while back. A buddy of mine was fishing down at the Re-Reg Dam, and it's his own dumb fault. He was stupid for doing it, but he left some of his fishing equipment in the back of the truck while he went down there to get bait, and when he came back up there, somebody stole all that back from his truck. So I basically practically gave him a bunch of rods. I mean, like, sold him some $60, $80 setups for $20, you know. But that way he had some stuff he could use. I wasn't using it anyway. And I know whenever I need anything, all I gotta do is shoot him a message. He drop whatever he's doing and give me a hand. There's been a couple times when I had that Ford pickup, it broke down on me. I had the boat behind me out the lake. Rather than call the tow truck to carry the truck back and pull the boat behind it, I just called him. He would drop what he was doing at the time, came out there twice, hooked onto my boat, pulled my boat back home for me. And gave me a ride home after the tow truck took that forward, where I didn't have to have the tow truck driver give me a lift. Somebody said they're not even doing that anymore. But so when he needs something, whatnot, I try to help him out best I can. All right, I have 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 more spots. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13. It's gonna pretty well kill that bag of 50. And I got lots of these things to do. They come in bags of 50. I bought 20 bags of them. So I bought 1,000. Oh, what colors do I want to mess with now? How about we do, he's gonna be a little different. Let's just do silver. I don't know. I'll do silver. It's almost better spraying with white first. Not no green. Early white. I'm about out of white. I need to get some more. Just spray some white base for now. I'm gonna do gold, I guess. I ain't got no gold ones yet. I'm just going to do a white base on these. So I want to do some do some shad. Some gizzard shad ones. You can put a base on them. Alright. White loaded. Gotta be working today, but luck have it, or unluck, however you're gonna look at it, the weather did not cooperate. So I'm not working today. Not clean carpet anyway. Wipe these off. A little. Oh, hi. He's outdoors. Phil, I don't know if you're still on there or not. Curry's Outdoors. Have you started doing videos, or is that just what you signed up as? I haven't went there. Because if you do videos, start doing videos, I have not went to your channel and subbed yet. You need to do that if you've started posting videos. wiping off the, they make these, they get like an oily film on them. The paint don't want to stick to them real evenly. It kind of has like bubbles of paint instead of nice smooth paint. So just taking a damp towel and wiping them, getting rid of that oily feel on that plastic. I imagine it's probably a mold release or something they have on there, because I'm sure they're blow molded, and it's probably some release they have on that mold. And these have like scales on them, molded in them, but when you paint them, you can't see them. I don't know if you'll be able to see them on there or not. You kind of see it, but you don't see that when you paint them at all. It just covers it up. If it was on the outside, I think you would see it, but it's on the inside. So I don't know why they put them on there, because you don't see it as soon as paint hits it. I think you'd save a little money by not putting it on there. As a matter of fact, I know on the other ones over there I got, they didn't have that on there. These here. These ones I had done, I brought in. But those I know didn't have that. Because you can't see that once you paint them. There's a pink and yellow one. And the black speckle. You can't see that pattern. Once you put paint on there, that pattern's gone. The only way you can do a scale pattern, and I'm going to do some, but is you take this netting stuff right here, and you paint your base color on there, and you take that, and you pull this over it, and you hook it on there, and you pull it down tight like that over top of it. And then you paint whatever color you want it to be. And then whatever that first color was you painted, when you get done, you let it set for a few minutes, and you pull this off, and then you have the scale pattern on them. That's how they put scales on crankbaits and stuff. So they use that mesh. You get different size mesh, whether it be, this size here is just a common size. And what it is if like on a minnow net, this is what it is. I buy it in big rolls, buy it in rolls, like 2 foot wide and 20 foot long for $10. It's a roll, and you just cut it with scissors, and that's how you get scales on here. I don't do too many like that. I play around with every now and then, but the problem is if you make one, somebody really likes it, and they want 15 more, you got to remember what you did to make it. So I try to keep them kind of simple that way. If somebody calls me and says, hey, I bought some of them yellow with the red around the eyes and the black on it, I know what they're talking about. And I always anytime I make a new color that I put out for retailers, I make an extra one. That way I know exactly which one, how I made it, what color it was, what I had to do to it. Now I got a notebook, and certain ones I'll put down in the notebook what they are. When we get the website done, whenever that gets done, I got to make them pretty similar. I can't just have them however I want. I can make them however I want, but if you look at a picture of one, you order a certain color pattern, color and style, like, I can't send you one that don't even look like it. So I'm trying to figure out what color patterns I want, so we can take pictures of them and get them on the website and get prices and everything on there. It's just figuring out how to build that website. I'm not computer illiterate, but it's a little different when you start building a website. It's pretty easy. I'm using Spotify, and they handle all the credit card transactions and all that's done through them. I don't have to mess with any of that, which is nice. Basically, all that happen is like you go on, when I get it done and launch it, somebody, you go on there to order, you'll click on what you want, and it'll go into a cart just like it does on Amazon or any other website. And then you'll go to checkout, and when you check out, it sends me an email with what you want, what you ordered, what the item number was. I just sign each one item number. What item number it is, the quantity, and the amount paid, and the address you want it shipped to, and a confirmation number for the monetary transaction. And then I grab a box, put it in the box, make out the address label, send it down the road. And then it has your email and address on it too. And then when I get confirmation number, I'll send you an email saying that your package is shipped, and here's your here's your tracking number. That way you know you can track when it's coming. Is how it works. So it's just a matter of getting that website done up enough to where it actually doesn't look like it was done by a 10-year-old. And I have to admit, I got my wife on that, so she's one of them people that you put her on a task and she's on it until she gets it done, which is nice because I get frustrated with it. I get this, I'm a bull in the china closet. That's my answer for it is, if it ain't working, get a bigger hammer. And the rain's gonna start again. What's that group? Here comes the rain again song. Wasn't very old when that came. Whoop up. Down. Six in here. 8 people. Still painting. Still painting. Down to 5. Man, notice a lot of jumps in and outs. Nice and smooth looking. Six. Tell you what, that works so much better going over it real light first. You start slapping paint to it. Coverage is not that great. Got 7 people. Lucky number 7. Oh, back to 6. Back to 6. We got here Justin Lawson. Hey, Justin. Yeah. I didn't. You know, I paint these. I got a bunch of cranks I painted too. I got to get the rings for them. I've got some done, but I've got, I think, 50 or so in the house, hanging in the back room on the rack back here in the house, that are, they're all real bright for this summer. But I got to get the little snap rings and the hooks and put on them. You definitely can go crazy with them. As far as hair jigs, I just buy them. I mean, I can get them from Thumper Jigs and JB's Custom Crappie Jigs, both. Thumpers is what's the way to say it? It's 2 different styles. They both tie a different style. He doesn't use the Chanel. And if you don't know what that is, I'll show you. When I get done, I got 3 more of these. He ties a more of a marabou, is what I always call them. I don't know if that's what they're called or not, but I always call them marabou jig. There's no fuzz on them. They're all synthetic. It's all synthetic jig, no feathers or fur. And they just the thread wrapped around the hook shank is what it is. And they hold up very well. They're extremely durable. And I've got some of them. I just don't, I don't really care for that style myself. And he's won national fly tie, jig tying awards and stuff. They're an excellent, excellent product. It just seems like to me for Mark Twain, I don't do as well with them. Now, I'm a big one in what you have confidence in use. And I have more confidence in using either a plastic or a jig tied with a Chanel, is what it is. Now that being said, like I said, I have some of the thumper jigs, hair jigs. And JB's uses a Chanel, and so I've got some of his. Now, and that's what my last videos have been, is with the JB's. I can get whatever color I want from either one of them. Of course, Pro Staff for Van still can more or less do. I haven't got anything from him for a while, just because he knows I don't necessarily like his hair jigs. I don't prefer them here anyway. But I do use his jig heads with my plastics. He gives them to me. My jig heads, he gave me some. It's been about a year and a half ago when we first developed that dwarf pillhead jig. He gave me probably, I don't know, there was probably 8 or 10 of each color he was making at the time, and I still have all but about 4 of them. I just don't lose them. So I haven't had to ask him for anything. I had some from Jesse at JB's, and he uses a steelhead hook in his, a mustache steelhead hook on his jigs, and they don't bend, and if you get hung up with them, you lose them. They don't come out. Where Van uses that sickle hook, and it's a thin wired hook, if you get hung up with those, a lot of times, using 20-pound braid like they use, you can pull them and the hook will bend out and you'll get it back and you bend the hook back. But, so I never got into the jig tying because I had friends that tied them, and, I could get them for little nothing anyway. I don't get them free from either one of them, but not the hair jigs, but I do get a discount, so they give me a good deal on them, so I don't pay full price. But I prefer the Chanel, and I like smaller stuff. I mean, if you watch my videos, you've never seen in a video I've posted me throwing anything over 1 3/4 inches. I just do not like that big, the bigger 2-inch, 2.5-inch stuff. I like the smaller, 1 3/4 is the largest thing I have. I don't throw anything bigger than that. I'm more of a finesse guy to throw them big baits out there. I was using stuff this winter that when I did go in December, towards the end of December there, I went one day, and I was using 3/4 inch plastic baits. That's all they were, with a number 10 hook on them. They were tiny. They were a Wild Willie's bait, plastic, but the hook, Jesse at JB's Custom Crappie Jigs actually made them for me for that little bait, and it has a number 10 hook on it, which is absolutely tiny, but worked great for those micro baits that Wild Willie's was making that I was testing. Now, I didn't think, he's got the Wild Willie's, the Wabash Junior on the website for Wild Willie's OCD. And that's primarily what I used all winter when I was able to go. But I tested one, a micro out. It was only 3/4 of an inch. I mean, I've got some of them. I'll grab them here in just a second. But they're not on the website. I don't think they would be fine for the ice fishermen, I think, up north, but it was almost too small for here. Where the Wabash Juniors, what I called it, is the same size as the Waxy Wiggler that Wild Willie's brought out, and everybody copied it after he brought it out. I put it in the video, and it kind of took over here. And then after that, everybody copied it. Pacific Killer, and Brush Pile developed their own little version of it. You know, it just kind of, it's like any of them. Don't matter who comes out with it. If it's popular, the rest of them are going to copy it, you know, in some fashion. That's just the nature of that business, you know. Is if you make something, somebody's going to copy it. I guarantee it if it's successful. It's like that in everything, but especially in the fishing industry. But I didn't. The only thing I know seen in the last 6 or 8 months that you cannot copy, and that's because they done it right, is the line through catfish spooks, the Catfishing. They went and got the patent on it. Now, I'm positive all you have to do is change one thing on that, and you get around that patent law. And I'm positive this time next year, I'll be able to buy the line through blanks for the spooks, for the catfish spook. And they'll, just like these, they'll be made in China, but they'll change something, whole size, something. It's all they got to do is change something on it. But for right now, they got that patent on that. They're the only ones producing it. I buy them now because they own the patent on it. And I looked, and for 4-pack of them was, I want to say $30-some. 3 of them was 27 something. That's just too much money for me. I don't have that kind of money to spend on something that I could potentially lose 5 minutes after I throw it out in the water. These are expensive enough. I still use peg floats. I got some rods over there. The stink bait I don't like this rattle float. And so on my stink bait rods, I either use no float at all, or I just use a peg float. If it's current, a lot of current water, I'll use a peg float, but I won't have no rattle. And it just makes it easier for them. You don't get that little tap, 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 them trying to pick it up off the bottom because it's already up there. They can just grab it and hammer down on it. But, and I quit using, I used to use a Triple S stink bait. And I still have some. I like it for channel cats. But I started using the Suki bait last year, and that, all you need is a treble hook. You don't use any kind of worm or anything, you know, you got to dip in it. It's made out of chicken gizzards, and they got a cheese and a shad. It's a Danny King Suki bait. That's who makes it, Danny King. But he makes a punch bait too. That's what this is, a punch bait. I don't know if it's got fibers in it or It almost reminds me of burlap. Because you get that stuff on a hook, just take a treble hook, stick down in it, you pull the treble hook, fold it over, and you pull the treble hook out, and it grabs a wad of it. And hell, half the time you catch a fish and it's still on there. It's got that much stuff in it to hold it on that treble hook. And you don't need that, stink bait worm or whatever you want to dip in that stink bait to use it. And I've caught blue cat on it being shad. It's made with chicken gizzards and shad extract. I think that's what he uses in it. And I've caught some pretty decent blue cat on that one while I'm trying to catch, fishing for channel cat, catch blue every Sunday. All right, I need to figure out what I want to do with those. I think I'm going to put the pearl to it. Get a silver pearl and some gold. And probably a black stripe down the back. These are going to be a little fancier. Those there. I still got stuff to do to them. As far as spraying goes, the yellow and the red ones are done. All right, I need this. The 9 in here. Oh, I know what. Let's see. Somebody asked me something. Yeah, hair jigs. Little going here. Little silver. Spray this right over top of that white. Give it a chrome look. Exactly what it'll do. Give it a chrome-like appearance. Go. Funny spraying this chrome color. It's like you're spraying, and it's like, is it spraying anything? Because it's even hard to see. Because it's that powdered paint. It's got that. It's pearlized, so it's got like a mica powder in it, I think. And it's like you're spraying and spraying and spraying. And you can't tell, is it putting any paint on it? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, we're silver now. That's what, instead of being white, there ain't a huge difference. But it is a difference to it. And the camera, It didn't do it no justice. That's just shining like nobody's business. The camera really don't, you can't really see how big a difference there is. It's a huge difference between the two colors. So if you don't paint it white first, you can't, it's hard to get enough. You gotta drown the blank in paint before you can not see through it. White kind of gives it a white base gives it a kind of a silver scale, not really chrome, but gives it a shine like a shade scale color. That gray shiny, you know, like what shade scales are. And if you paint it black first and then spray this on there, it looks chrome. That dark base really makes it look pretty neat. I like to do when you do the black base, use the mesh to make the scale pattern, and then spray this over top of it and peel that mesh off, and it looks just like scales. And there's all kinds of little tricks you can spray it. Instead of spraying straight on, spray it at an angle, you know, either like this from the front and mist it, or spray it from the back and mist it, and it looks like shadows, like scales, you know, makes it look even more realistic. You can paint it just straight on like you just paint scales on with the mesh, and it looks like scales, but not near as 3D as it does if you paint it at an angle. Spray it from an angle, it's a lot more realistic. This is the color I use as a base for my shad color put up for sale. Up and down. 8 people in here now. Some paint, some cranks, staying out of the rain. Pour down the rain. I'll be knee deep in catfish tomorrow with this running water. Definitely be out there fishing in the morning. I think the rain's supposed to stop tonight, middle of the night sometime. It's supposed to be almost 80 degrees tomorrow. I'm going to be on the lake. Catching catfish, hopefully. I'm on video tomorrow. So. Do the first video this year for catfish. I'll post. As long as I catch something, I should. Usually when the water runs in Mark Twain, that's the best time to go for catfish. You get that running water. Lake's probably going to go up 10 feet. Starting to get cross-eyed. Bought me a new drill. Change subjects on fishing. Bought me a new drill there about a month ago. I'm telling you what, it is the handiest darn drill. I love it. Not expensive, $100 for a drill with battery and charger. It's not a real powerful drill. It's only a 12 volt. It's more for finishing work. It is the handiest darn thing. I've made a couple projects my wife wanted. And to surprise her, some flower boxes that look like weenie dogs and stuff like that I've made for this winter. And for flyers out in front of the house. And I bought this drill. And I'm telling you, I grab it for everything now. It's the slickest thing. I've never seen one. It's a craft skill. It's the slickest little drill. It's got a drill bit on one side, and it's driver bits is what it uses. Sit right here. Funny looking thing. But it's got just a simple, it's not a big powerful unit, it's a 12 volt. And it's got a drill. And you can put your, it's just a long one, just a screw bit. And you can put that in there, and you got your screwdriver. And then, boy, you flip it around. Of course, not with that one. Here we go. Start out with your drill. And you drill your hole for your screw. And it's got this button, you push it in. You can flip that around, and then that's your screwdriver bit. Right there. And you can drill your screw. And it's got a light on it, pretty powerful little light. And you can adjust your, right here, you can adjust whether you're drilling, screwing, your clutch on it is adjustable there. And it's got a magnet up here so you can hold a screw or whatever. That's a bolt on there now. But that's a magnet up there. You can put your screws on there or whatever. But that little sucker, I'm telling you, is the slickest thing. You're doing something, you're drilling, you want to countersink. You drill it and then you just flip it around. And you don't need to have two drills and all that. As long as you're not doing anything real heavy duty, it works great. I used it, like I said, on the flower boxes. And that was slicker. I seen that at Lowe's. I said, by God, that's slick. And I was going to build them flower boxes for her. She's like, well, you need no drill anyway. I'm like, yeah, I could use another little drill. I got big, 20, 18 volt ones. But, and here's the thing too, you didn't know it on drills. A 20 volt drill is the same as a 18 volt. There's no difference. They still only put out 18.6 volts out of the battery. Even though it says 20 volt max or whatever, it's an 18 volt drill. It's something they got started. Just somebody trying to come up with a marketing scheme. So they say 20 volts, but they're just 18 volts. You look on your DeWalt 20 volt max, it actually says it outputs 18.6 volts on the sticker it's on the drill itself. Start to splatter. Clean my tip out. Three, 1, 2, 3. Right. There, now that splatters. Looking on juice here. Not bad. Done 6, and I got 7 more. I think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna load up with some black. Right. Five. Got 5. It can't be that exciting. Let's see if anybody's in the market for boat batteries for trolling motor. Amazon's got a sale right now on the ones I use. I use the Vatter lithium battery. It's the 12 volt 100 amp hours, the one I use, and they got a sale on them right now. For 2 of them is $186. You get 2. I think's what it was. Under $100 a piece. I couldn't believe it. It was a lightning sale. I don't know if they're still on or not, but they were. But they're on sale, I know, for $160 a piece or something like that. It's what they're $169, I think, for a lithium battery that I know I've had now 2 years and not a single issue out of whatsoever. I love them. And on my trolling motor. So much so I bought 2 more since then. And I use them for one of them I use for my graphs and my live scope. And the other one I use for my headlights on my boat. I use it for headlights at night. The durability and everything on it is just phenomenal. I was leery of, being a cheap Walmart battery. Everybody talks about, oh, you hit Battleborn, Battleborn, or this or that. But these have been nothing but phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. And they have the newest ones have the app you can load on your phone. The ones I got don't, because that's when they first came out. But these newest ones, you load the app on your phone and you can link to the battery and see how much battery you've used, what your draw rate is, and it gives you an estimated timeline on how long your battery's going to last, when you're using it at that draw rate, and which to me is phenomenal. Mine doesn't have that. Mine's one of the first ones, so they don't have that linkability with your phone. It does have, they got cold weather protection, cold charging, and overheating protection on it. I will tell you, with lithium batteries, if you've never used them, I have 6 batteries in my boat. Is what I used to run. 2 for my trolling motor, 1 for my starting motor. You cannot use the lithium battery on your starter to start your big motor. You still need a lead acid or dual purpose for that. But with that many batteries in the boat, and I was running Interstate 31s, the big ones. Well, they weigh 37 pounds a piece. 37, 33 something. Or 63 to 67 pounds. And I had 8 of them in there. And that's a lot of weight. You're looking at 8 batteries at 60 some pounds a piece. You're almost 500 pounds of batteries. So, I switched to the lithiums, and they're 23 pounds, and they're equivalent to the Interstate 31, the ones I got. And they only weigh 23 pounds. I mean, that's a hell of a difference in weight alone. Not to mention lead acid. A lot of people don't realize it. But a lead acid, if you drain it below 50%, it'll never charge to 100% again. And every time you discharge a lead acid, it does damage to it. You lose a little bit off of it every time you recharge a lead acid. If you go below 50%, it'll only charge to about 80% from then on at best. That's why you get a brand new battery, they work really good, the first time you're out with them on a trolling motor. And then they just don't work as good after that. To where a lithium, they work at 100% until 10%, and then it shuts them off. But you can run a lithium battery down to 0 without damaging it. Now you have to have a way to put a charge in it, at least one 1 amp charger. Well, a charger that'll charge at 0 amp to put some power in it. That way to go ahead and kick on and charge. And then it's best too to have at least a 10 amp charger for lithium. That'll charge lithiums, but at least a 10 amp charger also. The ones I have are Interstate 31 compatible, and I've had them down to 20%. In 4 hours, they were 100% charged and ready to go. As guiding, it's a must. My turnaround time is wonderful, and it works out great for guiding, because I don't have to be down 12 hours while batteries charge. One more left. I know they were on sale. I was going to buy a couple of them. I was a bad boy. Got a speeding ticket. First ticket I've had in about 15 years. So I spent my battery money on tickets. It made it worse, I was in my work van. I had a horrible time finding insurance for that van, my work van anyway. I'll probably get a letter from them saying that they're terminating my policy at the end of its period. Consistently keeping my 4 in here. Either 4 people are watching or they got it playing in the background for background noise. I'm out of paint. We're close. Starting to rain again. Okay, 2 more left. More left. Start doing a little detail stuff. One more. Yeah. Dry here too, man. 'Cause we finally got it. We needed it. Take it easy. Last one. Spray some black. We are done with silver. All right. Done with silver. That's pretty much going to do it for my painting today. Clean out my stuff. Go in and find me some snackies. Gotta skip lunch today. So I'm gonna hop off. Until next time, thanks for hanging out.